There's a place in Canada where you can walk up a hill and stand on top of 42 school buses without knowing it. Beneath your feet is one man's attempt to save the next generation from nuclear fire. Hello, welcome to Polymath-ish. I'm your host Storm Hardy, and today I want to talk about an eccentric fellow from my home country of Canada. Bruce Beach was born on April 14th, 1934 in Winfield, Kansas. He has a master in economics. He did 4 years of active duty and 4 years of reserve in the Air Force as a radiological scientific officer. This informed what would lead the rest of his life. Bruce later in life moved to Horning Mills, Ontario in Canada to be with a woman who would be his wife. He was afraid of a nuclear war that would wipe out, in his own words, 80% of the world population. Not only that, but according to his analysis of the jet streams, Southern Ontario would be a hot spot for nuclear radiation after a nuclear war. Bruce was not just worried for himself, but for the entire world. What would happen if we couldn't rebuild? What would happen if everyone just died off and fought amongst each other? Bruce's solution to this was the Ark Two bunker, which he started work on in 1979 and finished building in 1985. First time the water, next time the fire, was the motto of the bunker. Noah's Ark has shielded civilization from the torrential downpour of death, and Bruce's Ark shall do the same for the fire of nuclear war. Bruce had his shelter made out of 42 decommissioned school buses, or under 18 inches of concrete and 14 feet of dirt. He decided upon school buses as the hull for his shelter, upon learning that school buses are made to support 1.5 times their own weight. That, and the fact he could get them for dirt cheap. Bruce's Ark was designed to house 500 individuals, primarily children, reflecting his intention to build a functional post-apocalyptic orphanage rather than a personal refuge. In the event of a nuclear war, Bruce expected people to hand over their kids to him, to save them and leave. The logic behind this is much akin to lifeboats on a sinking ship. Although I guess Bruce didn't think being a woman gave you the inherent right of survival over others. I guess Bruce was kind of a feminist in that way. A few adults will be in the bunker, but Bruce's idea was that the majority of the people will be children, only adults being caretakers and support staff. Any adult occupants were not expected to pay for their stay. Instead, just to work on the bunker and be part of the bunker's community. Nearby residents contribute maintenance labor several weekends per year. He offered meals to visitors, welcomed anyone willing to work. Likewise, the bunker was open to any religion, race, nationality, or political views. Maybe Beach here was more egalitarian than most old men his age. Entering Bruce's Ark, visitors are expected to take a shower to wash off all radioactive contaminants off. Even a single shower can remove harmful radioactive materials from the skin. As you shower, you can hear the sledgehammer closing the lock of the door. Bruce describes the bunker as virtually impenetrable to anything short of a direct nuclear strike. The deepness of the bunker gives a cool feeling in the air. It's so far down, it can survive not only the fallout, but the massive shock waves of a nuclear strike nearby as well. As you exit your decontamination shower, you are expected to wear a full white bodysuit, hooded and all, with only your face exposed. Your name is stenciled onto the back of the suit to identify you from behind. After the stenciling, you are given a tour of the facility. There are multiple redundant diesel generators to keep things powered, with about 3 months of diesel stored. A private well for water allows the complex to never be thirsty. Sprinkled throughout the shelter is full plumbing hooked up to a motel-sized septic tank. Metric tons of food is stored in 2 commercial kitchens. Your guide explains that sleeping is rotated on shifts here, much like how a submarine works. This allows them to double their capacity from 250 individuals up to 500. As he says this, a row of inflated garbage bags made to be an air duct flare up. Apparently Bruce had invented this as a cost-effective ventilation system for the complex. Clever. You pass by the all-inclusive chapel as your guide takes you to the communications room. The bunker's communication systems are fully EMP hardened, as a nuclear blast can deploy electromagnetic pulses that destroy most non-hardened devices. Not only that, they are all generator powered. The bunker can broadcast in FM locally, AM across Canada and the US, and shortwave internationally. Bruce had intended this to be a post-nuclear emergency broadcast center, transmitting survival instructions to the public. It also supports text communication among his prepper network via ham radio. The bunker was even equipped with a collapsible antenna launched via a weather balloon, which was deployable from inside the bunker itself. Those who gathered around Bruce weren't merely following a prepper with a bunker. They were responding to a man who radiated certainty in a world full of existential anxiety. To many, he felt like a mentor, a stabilizing force, or even a moral anchor. His generosity, his willingness to feed and house anyone willing to contribute, and his refusal to turn the Ark into a private fortress created a kind of gravitational pull. People showed up not just out of fear of nuclear war, but because they sensed Bruce genuinely believed in community as the only antidote to catastrophe. Fear alone cannot sustain a movement. What held Bruce's network together was something subtle. He offered a story in which ordinary people could play a meaningful role in humanity's survival. In an age where individuals often feel powerless in the face of geopolitical forces, Bruce offered agency, work to be done, a place to belong, and a narrative where your efforts mattered. Even critics admitted that his certainty was magnetic. He spoke with the conviction of someone who truly believed that the world could fall apart any day, and that preparation was an act of service, not paranoia. Despite the scale of his ambition, Bruce's project was riddled with shortcomings that shaped the bunker as much as his idealism did. The Ark Two was never fully functional. It broke down, it leaked, and demanded constant repairs. Bruce spent decades patching faults, fixing wiring, sealing water infiltration, and fighting the entropy that naturally attacked a structure built from buried school buses. His grand designs frequently outpaced his resources, financial, technical, and social. The bunker was also the subject of repeated conflicts with local authorities. Fire officials warned that the structure was unsafe and did not meet building codes. More than once, the fire chief welded the entrance shut, only for Bruce to cut it open again. These standoffs highlighted a recurring flaw in Bruce's approach. His vision was impossible to reconcile with bureaucracy, and his refusal to compromise often left the bunker in a legal and logistical limbo. Even among supporters, some quietly acknowledged that Bruce's project required more manpower and money than he would ever realistically have. Bruce Beach wasn't just a bunker builder. He built the Ark Two out of a worldview shaped by his faith, his fears, and his belief that humanity has a moral obligation to care for its most vulnerable. This philosophy, that survival should be communal rather than individual, is what animated every decision he made about the shelter. He was a patriarch with a sprawling family. He and his wife Jean raised a lineage that now stretches to more than 20 descendants, several of whom, like his grandchildren Evan and Shayna, literally helped weld, shovel, and maintain the Ark Two. His attachment to them ran deeper than inheritance. What he wanted to pass on wasn't the deed to a bunker, but the ethic behind it, a belief that ordinary people can take responsibility for the survival of others. Bruce Beach died of a heart attack in 2021 on May 10th. When Bruce died in 2021, the Ark Two entered a new, uncertain era. He had left no clear succession plan, no documented blueprint for leadership or maintenance, and no instructions for how the project should continue. His family, grieving, aging, and already burdened with their own responsibilities, found themselves inheriting not a functioning bunker, but a sprawling, deteriorating, legally problematic structure. Some members of Bruce's prepper network expressed interest in carrying on the work, while loyal followers kept his newsletter alive. But the bunker itself was in disrepair, requiring labor and resources that no one was clearly prepared to supply. Local officials, now less hostile but still cautious, acknowledged that the bunker would be difficult to sell, difficult to repurpose, and difficult to dismantle. Bruce himself was buried on the property, near the memorial for his son, tying his legacy and the uncertainty of his bunker together with the land. For now, Ark Two remains in limbo, its fate unresolved, suspended between memory and abandonment. Bruce built the Ark Two convinced that he would live to see the day it was needed. But in a final twist of fate, the apocalypse he prepared for never arrived, only the slow, more mundane entropy of time. Bruce outlived the Cold War, but not the bunker he fought to maintain. Instead, the bunker outlived him, becoming a relic of one man's towering belief in humanity's fragility and potential. His fears never materialized, but his hope that people could choose cooperation over chaos endures in the strange monument he left behind. If you liked this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.